Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Wednesday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants, celebrating anniversary 25. Seems like just yesterday. Friday is Hockey Fights Cancer Night for the Giants. They take on Portland Puck Drop, 7 p.m. Sunday, G-Man take on Kamloops for their annual Trick or Sweet Night, where fans can celebrate Halloween early. Puck Drop, 4 p.m., and the game is followed by a post-game skate for fans. Visit VancouverGiants.com for ticket info. Canucks fall 5-1 in Pittsburgh last night. They play in Nashville tomorrow, as the city of Toronto gets ready for Game 1 of the World Series Friday at Rogers Centre. Jays and Dodgers. We bring in from the 100% Hockey Podcast, 100% Canucks, John Shannon. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Okay, so to finish the jockey conversation.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You go and listen to the podcast, and there's not enough punctuation between. There are some guys in the media that should never be jockeys. John Shannon is next. So we need to make sure that there's at least a period, and that most of it's on Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Most of it's on Ryan. There's got to be a longer pause before you talk about those types of things and me not being able to be a jockey.
Well, we'll do some magical editing, John, and everything will work.
Like a giant pause, please.
Okay. So, Mr. Television, record-setting TV numbers for Sportsnet for the ALCS. Can you put into words how excited the city of Toronto is right now for the Blue Jays and Game 1 of the World Series?
So excited that the Toronto Maple Leafs have actually changed their start time on Saturday. I mean, that is a crazy situation when you think about it, that the Maple Leafs would never change a start time. Now, they're owned by the same company now, which makes it easier, but this would be unheard of, that the Maple Leafs would change a start time. Now, it will help the congestion in downtown Toronto. If you could imagine, it'd be like having a Stanley Cup final game at Rogers Arena and the Grey Cup game across the street. It's going to be chaos in Toronto on Saturday. Not as bad on Friday, but chaos. And I've just gone to my bank and I've got out a second mortgage so I can buy a standing room only ticket. So it's crazy. Prices are crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and crazier in Toronto, I understand. We just ran a board here. Crazier in Toronto than they are in Los Angeles.
Well, this is a drought.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a drought. It's 1993 since the Jays were in a World Series. This is and when you look at the history of franchises in Toronto, really, one championship, the Raptors in 2019, since 1967. Wow. And the baseball team is a fascinating thing because there's a lot more pride in the baseball team, not just in Toronto, but across the country. And I think people in Toronto take a lot of pride in that something in Toronto, Canadians in Western Canada, Canadians in the Maritimes, Canadians in Quebec, like Toronto for at least 3 hours a night when the Blue Jays are playing.
Yeah, and John, we're going to get texts and emails about this if I don't point it out, but there have been Argonaut Grey Cup victories since 1967. But let's be realistic here. Don't create the buzz that the other teams do.
Listen, when there's a parade for the Raptors and there's 2 million people, and there's a parade for the Argos, and it can be confined to Nathan Phillips Square, there's a difference.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the Canucks. You know where prices are high, John, is for a second-line center. And, Canucks are in tough to get a centerman of that ilk, second line. Hedl, we don't know how long he's going to be out, John. Would it surprise you if they make a deal this week to get going? Because I know prices are high and they're calling everybody right now.
Well, Rick, I think it'd be easier to list the teams not looking for a second line center in this league. Right? I mean, are there 25 teams looking for a second line center?
No.
Maybe 25 or 26 teams looking for somebody of that ilk.
Yeah.
So the Canucks are not alone in what they're trying to do to improve the hockey club. Would it surprise me? No. I mean, these guys have never been afraid to pull the trigger on deals. At the same time, you can't sell your soul for that position if you don't have very much to sell. I mean, I think that's part of the thing to look at. It's a really tough situation, and I mean, we don't know Heedle's health issue at all right now. That becomes, I mean, Patrick and Jim probably have a better idea, but at the same time, I think you have to be cautious. Even if they say he can be back in 7 to 10 days, you have to be cautious of what you can and can't do with Heedle in the long term. Well,
he might be at that point, John, where he's got to think long term, family, kids, all that stuff too.
Absolutely, and the decision really isn't the hockey clubs. The decision is Philip Heedle's, and he believed in the summertime that he was in a much better position. He was strengthening his upper body. He was strengthening the muscles in his neck so that he could adapt better to physical contact in the NHL. But nothing adapts you to a Tom Wilson hit. That's for sure. Nothing.
Oh boy, he's a missile when he hits. One of the best open ice hitters in the National Hockey League. Hey, all we heard about was the Winnipeg Jets lost Ehlers. They're going to go to the bottom of the standings. They're not going to make the playoffs. Well, guess what? I'm looking at the NHL overall standings. Winnipeg is third. They've won 5 in a row. Boy, these guys, there's something there. That's a good franchise, ownership on down, John.
And they're doing it without Adam Lowry, Cole Perfetti, and Dylan Sandberg right now.
Yep.
And what they are really doing in many ways is beyond Mark Scheifele, who obviously is having maybe a career start to a season. They're doing it with special teams. Their power plays in the top 5, and their penalty kill guys has only allowed one power play goal against, and that was in the first game of the season, the only game they lost to Dallas, and since then they have been perfect. So they're doing it a little differently this time around. The other thing to be said is, and I know it's ancient history, but the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade that they made.
Yes.
And when you consider that Alex Iafallo is a big part of this club, and he plays all 4 lines. He plays on the power play right now because Perfetti can't. And then he kills penalties as well. And then Gabe Vilardi, who's that winger with great hands. I think he's only got 2 goals, but he's playing well with Scheifele and and Connor. They are such a deep hockey club. They are such a deep hockey club. It's amazing, and that allows you not to talk about Connor Hellebuck, who's, I think, the best goaltender in the game right now.
Yep.
And the guy that doesn't get any attention and deserves a ton of attention is Josh Morrissey. Josh Morrissey is just a great, quiet superstar in this league. He's done some great stuff. It's 10 years now he came out of Kelowna and the Rockets, and he's just been spectacular, albeit without looking for a lot of limelight. He's just a simple, effective player, and he's worked his way on to be I think one of the top 6 defensemen in Canada, and we're going to see him in Italy in February.
Okay, and one more quickly, when it comes to the Jets, I would imagine they have to be extremely pleased. I know it's early with Jonathan Taves come back. He gets his first goal as a Jet the other night. 1 goal, 3 assists, big face-offs. He's averaging 17 minutes a night, John.
I think the one thing you touched on there, Donnie, that's the key is big face-offs.
Yeah.
He's going to get 55 to 60% of the face-offs, and that was always the Achilles heel for this hockey club. When they went deep into that series in St. Louis, they were losing the face-off war. They lost the face-off war against Dallas. Jonathan Taves puts them in really good stead, and just imagine Adam Lowry's coming back within 2 weeks. And the other thing is they got a young guy as their 4th line center, Morgan Barron, who has really taken off. So they might have Scheifele Taves, Lowry, Barron, they might have the deepest top 4 centers in the National Hockey League. And as you know what they say, Rick talks about it all the time, strength down the middle. And that's the key to the Winnipeg Jets.
Would the Jets consider trading Taves to Vancouver? It's a joke, Rick. Come on.
It's a joke. I got it.
Jonathan Taves was only going to play one place. You know that as well as I do.
His hometown. His hometown.
We've been talking a lot about the Canucks and face-offs today. That's why I joked about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hey, listen, give them some credit. You know, they won that game in Washington on fumes.
Yeah.
You know, they got outplayed by Sid in the second period, particularly in Pittsburgh. And, you know, if they can find a way to muster something in Nashville, if they come home 4-1, that has to be considered a major, major character victory for this hockey club.
You wouldn't know it by the emails and texts we're getting today, but I totally agree with you, John. Yeah.
Hey, listen, in this town, and listen, the town I live in, they were all over the Blue Jay pitching for the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah.
And now they're going to the World Series.
Yeah.
You know, just saying.
Nothing like passion. Hey, John, thanks for this. Next week.
Cheers, boys.
You bet.